Revit 2018 Architecture Fundamentals. I'm going to go right through the book tonight and just kind of work through it. So the first thing is Chapter 1, Introduction to BIM in Autodesk Revit. And we want to talk about how Revit works and so forth as opposed to AutoCAD, how to work with the graphical interface, including the ribbon. There's a ribbon also in Revit, and we'll go ahead and just kind of jump into here. What you're seeing right now, let me just do this. This should look pretty familiar because it's a structure that we drew. We drew this particular structure. This is actually, who has a guess as far as what this is? It's floor plan 1, okay? Now, when we drew it in AutoCAD, this is one of the things that's really kind of interesting about this because I just traced this tonight in about, oh gosh, I did the walls in about 5 minutes, just traced less than that, okay? And these walls are actually all know that they are something. So just to kind of like talk about the lay of the land a little bit here, anything that you have done in AutoCAD, you can then do the same thing in Revit, okay? With the same amount of mouse clicks, sometimes even less, and you can get a whole lot more information going on right here. So what we have right here is a structure that I drew, and based upon the information that we had. So if I were to just kind of take a look at this, just to show you what you would actually do in AutoCAD, I'm going to go to here and level 1. And when you talk about level 1 right here, this should look pretty familiar because that is floor plan 1. And the different information you have, it looks exactly what we did with floor plan 1. There's not really any difference. These are 5-inch walls. These are 5-inch walls. You got doors, you've got windows, and you've got your plumbing fixtures, okay? But that's kind of where the similarities stop because once you have drawn this in Revit, then you also have 3D. So if I were to take a look at this in this different kind of views, if I take a look at it with its east elevation right here, it shows me this right here. That is what that looks like looking at it from the side. That would be the east view. And then I can also put in some more detail to make it look a little more realistic. I can also do consistent colors right here. So now I'm looking at it from the east view. Here is the north view. Okay, and you'll notice over here something interesting. Who has an idea as far as what these might represent?
Well, those boreholes, aren't they?
The floor levels?
Exactly, the floor levels, okay? And this right here, if it's right on the ground, what would be another word for if something that's right on the ground?
Ground level.
Ground level, or what's another word?
Grade.
Grade, okay, grade. And then there are modifications to grade. It might be, there's various kinds of grades. There's like grade before, grade after, and so forth, how it's going to be graded up, and so forth. But that's, so that's what you're talking. So this particular one, if we were to say that level 1 is at 0 feet, 0 inches, that means that grade is our starting point, and then level 2 starts up at 10 feet, which means our walls are like 8 feet, and then we have about a foot of support structure for the next floor in our building here. So that's how that would work. We can, let's see the project, what the heck. And, okay, and then we'll go south, and the south view, this is actually the front of our structure. And we can do the same thing, make it realistic and take a look at that. And then we have west, and we do the same thing. And so essentially what's going on there is each of these views, which we had to do in AutoCAD very painstakingly, separately. We had to do that whole front view right here. In Revit, once you draw the model, you just pull those elevations off. Those come right off it. It's part of the whole thing. So you draw one model, and then you just take a look at it in different ways. And so that's what's kind of cool. So you're basically taking it, if you had like a model of this that you could actually fit in your hand, you just like take it and say, okay, I want to look at it this way. I'm going to rotate it, look at it this way. I'm going to rotate it again, and so forth. Then I'm going to look at it in 3D, and then you can look at it from underneath, whatever, slice it, do sections. All that's what you can do with this. So this is how Revit works. So the beautiful thing about Revit is you've got one model, and then you have different ways of looking at it. Let's see here, if I can give you another example as far as how that goes. Yeah, let me show you here. So then you can go to this, which is called 3D view right here. So if I go to 3D view right here, I can actually kind of move it around here and kind of make it move. And then I can also put different textures on here, which is a bit much. But right now, we'll just kind of like take a look at what we have here. You notice these windows, you can actually see through them. You're actually looking into the house right now, and these are actual windows that know they're windows. And if we wanted to take one of these windows and make it larger or smaller, we could do that. So if I was actually here, if I was in level 1, if I did this, if I were to click on this right here, I could then move it quite easily just by saying, okay, you can move from side to side like this or that. Okay? And put it right back to where it was. And the thing is, that allows me to move it. And when I move it, then the walls actually adjust to make up for that. And we can do that. Now, if I take a look at this in 3D to show you another thing you can do, if I want to take a look at this in such a way, so I'm kind of like looking at a slice through, I can do what's called a section box here, which is kind of cool. It's under our 3D view here. I'm going to section box right here. When I do this, a virtual box comes in here with arrows on it, and I kind of take it and kind of shove it back and forth and see what's actually inside of here. And I can actually kind of like move it. So we can look into the bathroom there, okay? Look inside the tank too, okay? So depending upon where you drop that line, you can actually take a look at this information quite simply, okay? And so these are all very basic things. And so what you're looking at here, what would be another view for this view right here as we take a look at this slice through? What's another word for that?
Section.
It's a section, okay? So we're looking at a section view right here. And so that is how we could begin to actually understand how this relationship works. So you're going to have section views, elevation views, floor plans, all are derived through the model as well as 3D views and details and so forth. So you can also get different looks by going to here, like making it a wireframe if I want to just get plain view here, hidden lines and so forth. So depending upon how you want it to look, you have these different choices here. And so as you're working, you're going to find that, you know what, for this particular view, I just want this to be realistic right now because it makes life a little bit easier on me. And then you can change detail and so forth. Pretty cool stuff though. That's all great stuff that you can do with Revit. You know, so you can do a lot of things with Revit there.
Did you put that roof on, or did it automatically do it?
I had to put the roof on, yeah. I'll show you guys how to do that. It's you'd be surprised how easy it is to do that. And you'll notice it also has an overhang. And so you can actually change that. You can also put gutters on it, and you can go to the nth degree as far as details. We're not going that far. We don't have enough time to go that far. I'll take as far as we can. Okay, so let's go into the discussion here about how this all works. So when you